Ankh and Ma'at family, so greeting you as well in the language of Medu Neter. Ankh and Ma'at would mean live in Ma'at, live in harmony, live in righteousness, live in harmonious reciprocity. And so today's conversation is inspired by the Temple of Het Heru Coordinating Committee, and is a conversation about divine relationships. And so in order to get us in the spirit of complementarity to have this conversation, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a song. Het Heru is one of the Kemetic netrus, or the netret, which is going to be a translation of either God and deity isn't a full translation. We would say that the Necher, the Necheru, are going to be everything you can perceive and everything you cannot perceive. Everything, yet no one thing. And so then the Necheru are going to be the forces or the aspects of nature that help us uphold life as we know it. Het Heru is a beautiful Necheru that speaks to our love, that speaks to our affinity with one another. She's also very nurturing, very caring. And so in the loving spirit, if you want to pull up, we have our sheets here. On the second sheet, we have some song lyrics. Take your seat on the throne and take this ring, my love.
I am the moon, you are my sun. Together we shine, two souls as one.
All right, so family, just to reintroduce myself, dua so much, Baba Seba. My name is Ahasa. I am a Kemetic initiate of the House of Auset in New Jersey. I'm affiliate with the Temple of Het Heru here in St. Louis. I am a community organizer, but more than anything, I'm a lover of life. I'm a lover of our people, and we want to have this conversation today to bring back the love and respect that we have for one another as we work on building our circle and harmonizing again together. We have a sheet. You were looking at the lyrics. On the other side, if you flip that paper back over to the front, we're going to begin this conversation. And so there are 11 questions on this front page. We've gone through the first 3 at part 1 of the conversation. However, everything that's on the page is still open to speak about. And so what we would like to do is I'll have you all just take a moment to look at these questions, see what's resonating with you, and then when you feel called to speak, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll begin the conversation from there. And with that being said, I'm going to give you all a moment to let this resonate with your hearts. Excellent. And so where we're going to begin, I'm going to open it up with one of the questions, and then as we continue the conversation, if you see another question that maybe builds upon the conversation that you want to interject with, please do so. And so we're going to begin. If you look at question number 6, it says, should a new relationship be a place for healing? Or should healing precede your entry into a new relationship? Or does the answer fall somewhere in between?
Who's first?
That was quick. I was reading it at that moment. Absolutely, I put on a no. A new relationship is definitely not a place for healing. You must take time for yourself, as long as it takes for you to heal. before you even engage under the person, because you'll take that pain over. It's like a scar, or should I say a wound. If you cut, and over time, if you give it enough air, it'll start healing, but it develops a scab, and the scab is very hard. So you will become hard in that process of healing, but underneath that scab, it's still tender. And so you have to be very careful not to engage too fast in another relationship, because a person could rub that scab, rub you the wrong way, and all of a sudden that same pain that you had before will come forth.
Who's next?
The brother in the blue to your right.
Oh, right here? Oh, don't mind. You jumped right in it, didn't you, brother? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hotel, family, hotel. In most situations, it could be like a situational scenario, because what that may be, just what that person, the other person, that significant other may need is healing. And like any other trauma incurred, it is not an individual trauma. But although we may part ways and go our separate ways, from whether it be loved ones who incurred any trauma or a past situation, it's still, we still may have that mutual trauma. So that person may need that help, because you didn't get into this trauma on your own, but you may need you're gonna need someone to help you to heal from any type of trauma, whether it be relationship, familial, or environmental. So in regards to someone being needing healing, or needing healing going into a new relationship, that person may enhance or even speed up that healing process. And then there's the other side of that as well. But it shouldn't be a deal breaker, or it should not be a taboo thing if healing is the premise for each individual, or the individual that's been more bruised or damaged.
Sir.
Come over to this brother right here.
Yes, sir. Oh, you good? Yes, sir. Give a brother exercise.
Is that? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hotep. Again, first of all, everybody give yourselves a round of applause just for coming out to an event like this. This is something that's powerful. So, and I apologize, I do have to leave, but I just wanted to say for the question, kind of to veggie back off of this brother, you don't want to put, and I've been married for about 11 years with my wife for about 15. I don't say step, but I have a daughter. I've been in her life since she was 6. I have a 6-year-old who's out there running in and out. But I say everyone's dealing with different types of trauma, whether it's from their childhood and whether it's from high school, college. So everyone is dealing with trauma, and so you don't want to make that a deal breaker, like the brother said, and you might miss out on something. You might be to empower that young lady or that other person. They might be important to you, so you want to be careful with that. But I think it's important to make sure you know what you're getting into. Because sometimes it's some of us are counselors, I'm pretty sure, but we need to kind of know what we're getting into, so if we're built for it. A lot of times as men, our shoulders should be big and broad for everything, but if we're not, you don't want to get yourself into that situation and damage that situation more. So you have to really be in alignment and kind of know who you are and take some of your ego out. At the same time, be open for it, because a lot of times you're going to go through things, even later in life when you're married and through seasons and things like that, empty nesting stages and things like that. So we don't want to, if we did that, we'd miss out on some of our blessings. Men would, and same with some young ladies sometimes. So I agree with, again, you want to make sure that you know what you're getting into, but you don't let that consume you too much. So.
Our sister Palami here. You can raise your hand for us, please.
Yeah, raise your hand. There we go. All right. Help a brother out.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hotep, everybody. Yes, so I think, how life is just not black and white. It's, there's gray. So I do agree with the brother right here when he said you need to heal first. I believe between relationships, take some time, take some time. You don't have to jump right into something. Take some time and heal, do some self-reflection, do whatever learning you need. But then again, also, there is a bit of healing that comes with the new relationship, because you're like, but probably right before this, I was really angry. But now I'm like, know, so even though you had done work, you know, you may have done the work for a long time, but you still, it's just that little bit of, you know, so I think that's beneficial both ways.
We have a brother romancer here in the black.
All right. Excuse me, sir. I'm gonna reach over people here. Excuse me. All right.
Yes, I would agree with this brother here. I would agree with everybody that spoke. You know, we walk around, we have conditions. And, you know, you're in a relationship, you get hurt. And yet you should take some time before you jump into another relationship. I think you should try to resolve what you can, but oftentimes we're not going to resolve a lot of deeper issues that's going to come up when you actually get into a relationship. Now, if we all kind of waited for all of our conditions to resolve, then we may not get into relationships. But what we probably need is something to facilitate, you know, those couples engaging to help us uncover, you know, and realize some of those deep-seated conditions that we have that eventually is going to surface and cause some problems. And I think that's kind of what's really missing for us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel. I think nowadays, what happens with relationships, trying to hop in and out of relationships, if you've gone through something, you felt a pain. I know with myself particularly, it's a point of needing to know how to court. And with that courting phase, you start to learn individuals. So even if you are going through something, we have to go through the talking phase or the friending phase so that we can even know if this person is somebody that I can actually let into my life. I know a lot of times it's almost like TV kind of, oh, everything is fluffy. But if we don't get to know the person enough to even know that they might be able to handle what I've gone through, it becomes an issue of now I just jumped into something. So even if we are healing, we still have to, before we can fully heal, at least talk to this person to see that we may have possibly been through the same thing or opposite of something that can kind of yin and yang to keep you moving forward or not. But I do know that it seems today we don't court anymore. It's a lot of relationship issues that happen because we might not have had the people to show us how to even be in a relationship. So even with us trying to go through our pain, it's just even trying to know how to deal with another individual and see if we would even be able to work together. But I think that's something that's important. I don't know if you guys do, but yeah. And I think the next individual was, yeah.
All the way in the back. All right. Do a trap here. Get caught. Thank you, sir.
How you doing? We good, my sister. So I believe that healing is a process. And it's something, you know, it comes in its stages. It, you know, it happens because you actively are working toward it. And I do believe, like the brother said, you don't want to bring anything into a new relationship that you haven't at least sat with. You have to at least sit with it and assess it. Not, you know, I call the ones that I know, my friends that go from relationship to relationship, serial relationship. It's like you're always filling this space with a person, whereas you need to be filling it with a, you know, a reason, a process, you know, coming to terms with what has happened and how you'll move forward. And, you know, I think if people address each other, you know, as far as when they're getting into a relationship and understand that they're both on a journey, you know, and they understand that this person is committed to healing, you know, that I think that's very important. I am committed to always healing. I consider myself to be pretty much, you know, in a place, of course we all are, you know, this thing is subjective for us individually. I think I'm pretty good, but something will happen. I'm triggered. Now, am I committed to staying on that path and, you know, and being healed and discussing that with my partner, or am I just gonna, you know, go back into myself and recess into myself and not, you know, promote the kind of atmosphere that will keep us moving toward healing together, you know. That's the thing. I think it's a process and we have to discuss it. We have to see where each other is at in order to, you know, stay on track.
Okay. Right here. I'm gonna step back this way. You stay right there, brother. You good.
Hello, my name is Mary. I think that there's a certain level of healing that you have to do alone. And then when you get to a place, there's a certain level of healing that you do interdependent with someone else. So for me, I realize the issue is the introspection, where the alone healing, where you take that time by yourself. Inside of a relationship, there's still going to be a level of healing and growth, but if you don't know who you are, you don't know your triggers, you can't address them in a relationship because you don't even know that they exist inside of you. So when these reoccurring things happen and you spaz out on somebody, you can't address it and say, wait a minute, you know, I have a problem here. You have to acknowledge where your faults are within yourself and know them so you can recognize them in a relationship, because you are bringing two totally different people growing up in two totally different environments with two totally different sets of values or morals or whatever, and you're trying to make them walk the same walk. But if you don't know who you are, you can't do that.
Bill, right.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Tozake. I agree with everybody. Well said, well said. I also believe that there's things that come up when you don't expect it and you have to deal with it in that moment. And I think one of the things we're all dancing around, or not saying the exact word is willingness, is that when you get into a relationship with whoever your person may be, even in your friendships, even in your family relationships, because we keep discounting those as relationships you can practice in, to question who you, if you think you are who you say you are, and whether or not you're committed or disciplined enough. With those relationships, your family and your friends are people you can do the interpersonal work with to keep you accountable to your word, to see if you actually are ready for that willingness to then get into a relationship with someone else who you don't know what situation he's in or she's in. So willingness then to deal with whatever comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm Daisha, and initially my answer was that the healing can be a byproduct of relationships, but as I've been listening to you all's answers, I agree with you all, and I feel as though one thing that's kind of missing is that healing or picking at your scab will happen regardless, but it's what you're doing to cope. Like, if you're doing the interpersonal healing by yourself, does that come with steps on how will I handle this once I'm triggered? That's my answer.
So family, I want to go ahead and let you all know if there's other questions on the sheet that you're reading as well. If you can find a way to segue it into the conversation, please do so. It sounds like there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of agreement around healing being happening by yourself as well as interdependently. And so if you had a comment still on this, you certainly can raise your hand. I'm also going to bring us to question number 7, which is, given today's culture, do you think dating standards are set too high, set too low, or are they set based on how strongly a person desires marriage? Or are standards set based on other factors like aging, concerns, or loneliness? And so right now where we're at is thinking about healing, right, and doing that, how you do that in relationship or before relationship, as well as what today's dating standards are.
Brother Eli? Yes, sir. Yes.
Give me one more.
Yes, no? I'm good, okay. All right, first off, what you had said, I was going to say that courting, I believe that the way in which we are interacting or going through this whole process of dating is too shallow, and I think we should be a little bit deeper. And courting is when you present that evidence to determine where you can get your verdict from. I need enough information from you, no different than a high-paying job, if you will, and you put an application in, and they have all these questions, and you don't get no benefits until 90 days. You go on probation. Is that how it normally is, right? Yeah. So I say to my sisters, primarily, you have the occupation that the person is interested in. The question is, how valuable is it? Is it a career? And if it is, then how serious are you about this position, and what's your criteria? Okay?
Oh.
Caught y'all.
Yes, family. It seemed like all of these questions, ironically, are beautifully interweaved and interconnected together, which makes it a fully black-tastic affair. So, in regards to the sister in the pink used a very, very key word, interdependent, which when you stepping into a relationship, a marriage, or booed up, you are becoming interdependent. You're not in our customs of African people, we don't have a lot of independence. We are interdependent because without one there is no us. So we are us people, and we always gravitated to something beyond law or tradition, custom. And so when you go to number 8, prenuptial, is that a red flag? Well, customarily, we always, came into a thing where we brought this and we brought that into a marriage. You didn't just marry the individual, you married the family. And more importantly, the families, there was a thing where, from what I researched that, courting was an ultimate, it was a demand, it was insistent, and it was monitored by both sides, familiar wise. So everything pretty much is interconnected, each question, which I love it, but at the end of it, all of it is saying that without one, without the other, so without our female counterpart or our male counterparts, we are just individuals, and we are not individual people. Ashe.
Hi, my name is Carrie, and I'd like to talk about the standards too high or too low. I think they set too low. Can you hear me? Yes, ma'am. Okay. I think they're set too low. But then I understand why they're set too low. I retired from a home with mothers with one child. From the age of 12 to 15, they can come into this home, and I would teach them how to be able to cook, they had to have a child, take care of their babies. Okay. One of the girls, the boy was still coming to see her. And one day he came, and she was crying. She said, "Miss Young, you have to let me go with him." I said, "But you can't go." She said, "But you have to, because if I don't go with him, he's going to take somebody else." And I said, "That's what you're afraid of?" She said, "Miss Young, it's hard out here. There is no boys for us." So when I said set too low, that's in my time. A boy couldn't even walk me from school unless he carried my books. So we had so many males to every female. Today, we don't. So we have to deal with the younger generation. And the younger generation feel different than my old generation. You know, they meet a guy, they in his bed the same night. If he doesn't ask them, they ask him. You know, you had to wait a while before you could kiss me. So I'm just saying, it's a different. Okay.
On the clock. Right on the purple. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Also, on the same question, whether or not the standards are too high, too low, I also agree that they're too low, and I believe a lot of them are irregularly set because they're set off the social medias and so set off of somebody else's experience and saying, well, I don't want to be ashamed or embarrassed, so I'm going to go away from anybody I'm actually attracted to or actually want to be around and go with what society has said is a good choice for me, and then not being happy in your choice because that wasn't actually your choice. It's just something you decided was better for everybody else. So I believe it's one part people not following their own intuition into who they're choosing, and also being beholden to what we want for everybody else. Like I want my mother to be happy, so I want somebody who can bring money to the house so that I can make sure my mom's good and all that stuff like that. But that's not necessarily something that fulfills me in that one way. In a different scenario. But yeah, that's all.
Yes, oh, you.
So this is a very good question, guys. I wrote a whole little situation here. So with this one, I wrote down, let's start talking about like nowadays, there's a lot of situations with the prenups. I want to start with that. I was having a conversation about this not too long ago. When you are like a big superstar and you have billions and trillions of dollars, I can understand where a prenup comes into play. But then like us on our regular surface, it's a matter of really, I feel like getting to know the individual again to see where we stand. Because what do I have to lose? If we're coming into this together, we're going to grow together, right? If I have a house, of course, I would hope that, you know what I'm saying, you not think you're going to take my house or whatever the case may be. But that's one situation that we have to talk about when it comes to social media as well. A lot of us have these issues where we're thinking the TV relationships are the way to go or whatever the case may be, and we're not being realistic about what we have here. But then the other one, it says dependent on, even with that being said, when it comes to the prenups, there was a time where we did depend on the man. Nowadays, a lot of the women, most likely in a lot of cases, make more money than the man. So now it's a mental thing that we have to be able to alter our mind state to see if this is something that a man could deal with, me making more money, and we can still come into a loving relationship. There's a lot of things that have changed over the time, and now we want the man. We don't necessarily need the man. So there's a lot of conversations that need to be had, even if the man can handle that. Because I speak with a lot of different men, and they're like, I don't want to be with a woman if she, is in this caliber, because they want the needs to be felt like they are needed, So it's a deeper thing nowadays, because with the social medias, we have a false sense of what a relationship is. So we need more people that have been together for years and years and years to speak up and say, this is what a relationship is about. It's not about the housewives or whatever the case may be. So I just feel like it's a lot of conflict, and we need more solid foundation people to speak up so that they can show us what a real relationship is, with money or not money, or if we can come together without the prenups and show us the way. Because we're really confused in what we're doing in 2026 and beyond. So that's how I feel about the situation. I think the next gentleman that we have, or the next person we have, was in the black hat. You want me to read it to you? Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. I'm Makeda, by the way, for those who don't know. So where this question, it's funny because I was watching Good Times the other day. And as I was watching Good Times, there was this episode of James's father, after he had passed, James's father coming into the house with Florida and her kids. And he had brought his friend. And she had this, Florida had this really, this real uptight kind of, what I would call prudish kind of attitude about them being together. But these were older people who, at that point have different different needs for companionship. So we have to, we also have to look at the fact that, at some point, I ain't dating to have kids no more, and raising families and stuff. Like, some people just want somebody to travel with. Some people just, so you have to, kind of look at it from the lens that everybody has to check in with each other about why they are with each other, and what they came here for. For me, I'm in my 50s. I'm not eating with my eyes no more. I ain't, oh, he cute, and I'm not saying that what I have is not. How'd I know he was making a face behind me? How'd I know that? That's not what I meant, sweetheart. But I don't. It's not that. I love his face. I absolutely love his face. But the thing is, you develop that too. You develop a certain sense of, where you make your connection is, you grow to. You don't see, I used to have boyfriends that was off the chain, like, folks, my friends would be looking at me like, really? That's what you thought to do? And I'm like, I don't care that he got a dead eye. He's so sweet. That's just what it was. But we all have our different reasons, for getting together with people. So, that's really all it is. And, we have to pay attention to the fact that, everybody is in their space, and they got to check in with each other. Yeah. Ashe.
Yes. All right. Sister. Hotel, sister.
How's everyone? I'm Roderick. We don't have no standards. I bet you can't get two women in here to agree on what they should be telling their daughters about finding a man. And I'm sure most of these men over here say nothing to their son about how to find a good woman and what it is. Our culture has been robbed from us. And we have to decide that we're going to have to get together and establish something. You've been hurt in a relationship. Why? You can't heal yourself. In this complicated world, when 9 out of 10 people here are white and they are steady working against you and stuff, you're not going to heal yourself. You need some therapy. You need some help. Then you need to establish some standards you want to set. Why do you want to get married? What kind of guy you want to marry? What kind of family you going to have? How much money you need? We don't go through the basic details of teaching our children about relationships. And relationship is not about holding my hand. A relationship is how secure and safe and peaceful we can find in another person, that we can find in each other. All right? If you ain't got no money, you don't need a prenup. All right? I ain't getting married without no prenup, but I ain't getting married. I'm 80. At any rate, I'm just saying, we don't have no standards. We out here just running wild. All right? We listen to social media, TV, and white folks. We don't follow into these brothers that try to get into the background of our culture. These cultures took thousands and thousands of years to develop. It was trial and error. But we've been here long enough to have gotten it right. You can tell by the kind of kingdoms we built in the past. All right, but like everybody else, we got the big head, let our guard down, let them white folks come in there, took all the land, took all the raw materials, then took us. And we haven't had a peaceful moment since we've been in this country. All right, we need therapy more than we need anything else. You cannot heal yourself. You need somebody who can offer you some advice, because we are crazy. Hey, can I just one second? We're not crazy. Look, we've been traumatized, murdered, and raped by these people for 400 years, and when we get together to talk about our problems, what do? We want to find out what's wrong with each other. It ain't us. Here you go, brother.
I say, brother, you need a whole platform.
Okay, family, I'm gonna ask in a minute permission from my elders to speak. That means that if you are over 55, you may answer. Okay, if you're younger than 55, please don't. May I have permission from the elders to speak? Yabo. Family, I am, let me get this right because I know Baba Saber gonna be checking me. Ma'ut Netchari, which means divine mother of the Temple of Het Haru, where our founder is Baba Saber Amari Sneferu. Raise your hand, Baba Saber. Ashe. Let's say Ashe for him. At this time, family, we're going to take time out to do cooperative economics where we give so that we can continue to have these wonderful seminars and education. Ashe? So, Ms. Kawasi, can you come up, Queen Kawasi? She's going to be passing around this wonderful drum-like. And whatever you can give, we appreciate it. If you want to give and you can't give today, we still appreciate you. Ashe? So at this time, give what you can without injury to yourself or your family. Ashe?
So family, while the collection is going around, I do want to say we've looked at number 6, we've looked at 7 and 8. And so I'm going to raise questions 9 and 10 for us at the moment. Question 9 says, when a low-income couple remains together primarily to share financial burdens, is marriage a practical or rational option for weathering difficult times? Question number 10, is infidelity the primary cause of failed marriages and broken relationships? If so, what are some personal or cultural remedies? And so in both of these questions, if we have those in the room who are willing to especially speak from an I statement about that which they've experienced, that which they've endured, and that which they've overcome, we would love to hear you speak of your experiences to guide some of us like myself in the room who would like to know from those who have lived it.
Question number 10, is infidelity the primary cause of failed marriages and broken relationships? From my perspective, I would say it would seem that way on the surface. I mean, that is a major one, don't get me wrong, but I feel like we need to tackle why there's infidelity in the first place. You know, and typically I feel that, don't get me wrong, especially speaking from a man's perspective, you know, women may cheat for different reasons. But speaking from a man's perspective, there are some of us who are just bred that way. That's what society tells us we're supposed to do. And then there are those of us who may cheat due to trauma from pain that we haven't resolved. You know, and in my personal experience, I ain't gonna lie, at some point I thought I was incorruptible. I thought I was above cheating. Like that's back when I was early 20s. Yeah, then like when I was 23, I found out the hard way, I'm not above it. I was in a relationship and I communicated with the young lady certain things that would trigger me or certain things that made me feel a certain ways. Like ultimately is the feeling of being undervalued, not valued at all, or disrespected. And sometimes, even though you may seek out validation or a sense of respect through sex, it's not really the sex that you want. Like there were times where I would get with another young lady outside my relationship and it was just conversation and feeling appreciated. And then that led to sex. But ultimately, I wasn't necessarily even looking, you know, for sex. So like I said, ultimately, I feel like it's a matter of going to the root of why the infidelity exists in the first place. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good point. Where we at? Right here?
Okay. Wow. It's good. First off, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Dr. Salam, or Brother Salam. All right. Ooh. I have first-hand experience on both. When I was very young, I had my first child when I was 20. Income wasn't tight, all right, and the struggle was there. We stayed together for a nice little while, 3 children. However, it was the sacrifice that we made with each other, we understood that we came together not just on the financial side. And you'll notice I use a lot of analogies, right? Okay, metaphors. And so I call it the spades of life, you know. And if you ever play spades, how many of us play spades? Okay, all right. You know how it is. You is us against them. And I look at life sometimes, you might have a better hand than your partner, but you're not always going to have the good hand. Sometimes you might only have one in a possible, and then your partner has to carry it. But the key thing is that you pay attention to the board, pay attention to life, that you don't cut each other out. Okay? So I just leave it right there. And so that's what we did. We struggled through it together and realized there was a time that we had to do whatever was necessary to maintain the relationship. Number 9, was it number 9? Number 10, infidelity, primary cause to failed marriages. I wrote this earlier. I think it's a percentage of it, but I don't think it's primary. I believe that some of the causes of relationships, to cause broken relationships is financial secrets. I believe that a lot of times we come into relationships and there are things that we are faced with financially that we're not disclosing. And then later on in the relationship, it starts coming out that you got this type of debt, or you got this type of situation. Or in my case, 26 years a while ago, I had a child support case. And I was getting married and children, you know, doing all this madness. In the midst of that, hiding, okay, and it took me a long time to get free from that. Yes, sir. And so sometimes it's very important that you be honest up front, always, on what's going on with you on every level. Honesty is key.
Yes, sir. Our sister Deja right here to your right.
Oh, right here? All right.
Okay. I'm gonna try to answer both in one. So I have 2 brothers, and me and my oldest brother were only 5 years apart. I feel like witnessing my parents go through their infidelity had a big effect on the way we began dating and living our lives. I am a single mom. I chose to leave the relationship. My brother and his girlfriend, they are 4 deep, and they're kind of struggling. Like, they don't have, I can tell based off of how we were brought up, my brother isn't living up to how he would like to. So I think, although I haven't personally experienced infidelity, witnessing it played a really big part in how I do kind of approach dating. And recently I've been able to kind of acknowledge that and hold myself accountable, so I'm not thinking I'm detouring away from what my parents went through and still leading myself down that road. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, okay.
I'd like to talk about infidelity. Got it? Okay. Isn't that consist of something that man has? Do you think? I don't think it should end a relationship because he can't do what he have to do with his wife. There's other means of satisfying his wife, and they both could be happy. You wonder what I meant about that? By satisfying?
Swingers? Swingers?
No. I mean, with your husband, as he get older, things are going to happen. And he's not going to be able to perform. But you don't leave him because he can't perform. You're supposed to be with him like your vows of marriage. To death do us part. If a man cannot perform and his wife still desires sex, there are means to satisfy her. Y'all understand what I'm saying? You want what?
There's an alternative.
There is an
That's what you're saying.
alternative to leave.
To leave, yeah.
No, I don't want you to leave. I want to stay.
There's an alternative.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about, well, everybody in here is grown. There's toys. Okay.
Where am I going? Oh, no, I thought you said.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. You're very much right. As far as that's why I didn't realize I raised my hand, because I haven't experienced either of these things personally. I just know within my family what I've seen. A lot of my family is in low-income areas with multiple children, and I see that, and it's real-life situations. Systems in place put them in that position, so it's not something to be like you chose wrong or it wasn't a great option to be with the person they choose. It's just knowing that when you get with someone, whether or not you enter good times or bad times, whether or not you were still willing to work together, be honest and say, hey, I'm struggling with this thing and I only got one in a possible, and it's been one in a possible for 3 months, and now, it's just being able to be open about those things. And I don't really have anything to say about the infidelity, because I think it like he said, is something that starts the infidelity. Is something about being honest, is being open and be like, hey, I'm not really happy right now and I haven't been happy for a while. And then being able to have that conversation about what does that now mean for us, whether it is toys or open relationships or whatever you need to do. Whatever you need to do.
Peace, family. I go back a lower. Good evening. So I would love to take a bit of a detour. Not really, though, because I would love to answer number 4 from a feminine perspective. What do you believe is expected from you fundamentally in a relationship? Because I have this this thought that it's about the text will tell us about being a helpmeet. And when you take those words literally, I'm meeting you where you need help at. So that could be financially, that could be with some of your habits, that could be with some things that you can't see because you can't see you like I can. And in all those contexts, I'm also meeting you at a place of like expectation. So if I can't meet that, I'm gonna tell you I can't do that. And then I have the autonomy to make a decision to continue meeting you where you need help at, or to not. And so when we look at these two questions, 9 and 10, about remaining together in a low-income situation, which I've experienced this, and it does not emotionally, mentally, it does not feel the same for men as it does for women. And so, whereas for me, I'm like, well, we don't really gotta have nothing, because we got everything we need here. He may be like, well, I don't have nothing and I don't have everything I need here. It's a matter of perspective. So can I meet you there, and can I help you through that mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so that you don't feel like you're not a man because we're not in this place that has been set by standards that we didn't even create. And as a result of these things that you're needing help with, how does that show up then in your behavior? Is the infidelity, it's probably not me, or maybe it is, and maybe I need to meet myself and help you by walking away, so that you can deal with that in your own space. So I think that, just going back to question number 4, I hope that we can spend some more time on that, because it is more of us than it is of them. And so the accountability, power that we true indeed have, I don't know that we're exercising it to the greatest capacity. Thank you.
Keep it. So family, I do want to raise our awareness to the fact that we are at 4:27 by the central time zone that we live in. And so I'm gonna pass this conversation over to the leader of the Temple of Heru, Baba Seba Amari Seneferu, to begin to wind us down for the evening and close in prayer.
Ashe. Oh, beloved ancestors, we humbly sat before you today as manifestations of your divine lineage, placing our relationships on the scales this afternoon, united as family, united as community, and united as a people. We offered unto you the examination of our hearts and the examination of our expectations of one another. O beloved ancestors, we offered unto you a willingness to show respect, a willingness to listen, and a willingness to share our deepest concerns. O beloved ancestors, we offered unto you the greatest of offerings, that your progeny practice love for one another, that your progeny prove the naysayers wrong, that your progeny can in fact have meaningful dialogue with one another, that your progeny can in fact honor the commonality of our African descent. For on this day, and on behalf of this community, we give respect and pay homage to you for what you have given to the world and for what you continue to give to us each and every day. Oh, beloved ancestors, we know that it's your blood that flows in our veins. We know that it's your DNA that permeates every living cell in our bodies. We know that we are living vessels carrying your collective spirit right here on this earth plane. And for those reasons and much more, we are forever grateful for your having blessed us with this precious gift of life. With every breath that we take, we pay homage to you. For without you, oh beloved ancestors, we don't exist. So in appreciation, we offer you our unyielding commitment to preserve this life of ours in your honor, to preserve this life of ours for our children, and to preserve this life of ours for the progeny of their children. Oh, beloved ancestors, we seek your guidance to restore order and healing to our relationships. And in turn, we offer you our unyielding commitment to remember your sacrifices and to remember the blood you shed and the pain you endured, with faith that one day we will fulfill your promise of freedom, that we will fulfill your promise of justice, and that we will fulfill your promise of liberation. Oh, beloved ancestors, all of your promises shall indeed be fulfilled, for we are committed to finishing your work. We know that with your help, there is nothing we cannot accomplish via your collective spirits. Like Heru from the ancient text, we taken victory over our enemies, taken victory over our difficulties, and taken victory over all of the challenges that stand in the way of achieving a divine relationship moving forward. So in conclusion, brothers and sisters, just remember that there is no conclusion. The sacred march of African people will continue forever. Do our nature, giving thanks to the all. Do our nature, giving thanks to the all. Shem Imhotep, you may go in peace. Ashe. Ashe.
Today we are advancing the mission of building stronger Black communities rooted in divine relationships. Coined as the Marriage Question 2026, a community dialogue aimed at deepening our love and respect for one another is underway. The 11 questions covering part 1 and 2, thoughtfully crafted by Baba Seba Amari Seneferu, invites us to engage in respectful dialogue, centered on divine connection over that of a depraved culture, fueled by the online gender battles that divide us. Choose the questions that resonates most with you and share your thoughts in the comment section. Your feedback is greatly appreciated.
Where the lotus grows. I saw my king, my heart you hold your strength, your wisdom, a story told. Your touch is fire, but it soothes my soul. In your arms, I find myself whole.
Take this ring, my love.
Let it shine like the stars, a promise eternal, no distance too far.
Take this vow, my love.
Let the heavens align. In your eyes I see what is forever mine. Take this ring, my love. Take this ring, a circle unbroken. Let the ancients sing. Take this ring, my love. Take this ring, my love. Take this ring, bound by the cosmos, eternal as spring. I am the keeper of the love we weave. A sacred bond, only we believe. The falcon flies as our spirits rise. Together we soar, where eternity lies. I am the moon, you are my sun. Together we shine, two souls as one.